Good afternoon, I'm Susie Jaro, and I'm going to be talking to you about the story in Matthew chapter 4. So in the first part of this chapter, it's about Jesus being led by the Spirit to the wilderness to be tempted. But before that, he fasts for 40 days and nights. And specifically in verse 8, Satan takes Jesus up to a mountain and he shows him the kingdoms of the whole world, and he says, if you bow down to me, I will give you all this. You will be king of this all as long as you bow down to me. And obviously, Jesus rebukes him, Satan flees, and angels come and attend Jesus. There are three things about this story that really stand out to me and inspire me. Number one, the importance of Jesus knowing the calling on his life. Number two, he fasted and prayed for 40 days and 40 nights before he was tempted. And number three, he stayed on the road to the calling that God had placed on his life. So number one, the importance of Jesus confirming the call in his life. He knew what God wanted him to do with his life, so he was able to go through this temptation knowing that God had called him to die on the cross for us and be King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So in 2 Peter 1:10, it talks about the importance of confirming the call in our lives, to be diligent to confirm the call in our lives. For if we do this, we won't ever fail. So that's the first point. Number two, Jesus fasted and prayed for 40 days and 40 nights. And when we go through a time of fasting and prayer, what we're doing is we're renewing our minds. And because Jesus did this, he was ready for when Satan came to tempt him. And number three, Jesus stayed on the road that God placed before him to the calling he had on his life. What stands out to me more than anything about this story is Satan knew that Jesus was King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and that he always would be, and there was nothing he could do about it. And he knew Jesus knew that. So he couldn't distract him from that. He couldn't convince him that he wasn't. So what he did was he offered something to Jesus. He offered him a way to that calling that wasn't of the Lord. So he said, if you bow down to me, you can have this. But that was a shortcut, and that wasn't the way that God intended him to be that way. So number one, the importance of confirming the call in your life. It was very important that Jesus knew that. Number two, it's important to renew our mind through fasting and prayer. And number three, stick to the road that God has placed for you.